You know, that rock and roll lifestyle, bro. You know, that rock and roll lifestyle, eventually, bro, it catches up on you, doesn't it? You might, you might do some shows and you might show off about it, eh, bro, and talk about, all these recreational things that you do, but it's finally caught up with the Rock Professor.
I was just about to say, why don't you show the picture in the background, isolate that, Andrew, and that will explain why Simon is probably not available today.
All right. So Brad and I are just going to pop out for a minute and just remind you what the Rock Professor gets up to in his spare time, folks.
This was Friday. That was Friday. No, that was Saturday night. Actually, sorry. What you didn't see in the outskirts of that picture, Andrew, is the fancy ladies that he normally gets to entertain as well.
Oh my lord. I'm not going to say anything. I get myself into trouble without you leading me astray. Thank you. Seriously, folks. Seriously, if only it was a consequence of this activity that the Rock Professor wouldn't be here with us today. If only, if only, bro. But he's just got the boring old fever, folks. He's got the fever. So he can't be with us this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, wherever you are.
Yeah, unfortunately. So get well, Simon. We missed the Rock Professor. But we're going to try our best to continue on today and get this over and done with for the viewers that have checked in. So, but thank you very much, Andrew, for highlighting what Simon got up to on Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah. Well, look, yeah. What we're going to do, folks, is the format's the same. You know what we do here. We're going to read your comments. Brad's going to lead the last 9 songs of the Rock Night. We've got a couple of picks. We're going to show some picks just to put that into context for you guys.
Yeah.
Depending on how well the Rock Professor is during the week, we're going to start the orchestra week next week, aren't we? If the Rock Professor can get over his illness, we'll be doing that. Otherwise, keep an eye on the channel. Brad and I will come back and we'll do something else for an hour and a half. Keep you entertained.
We'll work something out through the week depending on Simon. So all the best wishes to you, Simon. Hopefully you get well through this week, mate. Take care and dose up on vitamin C as we all do when that time of the sort of cold and flus come around.
Hey, Bob. I know who that Bob Dobalina is. Good to see you, brother. Bob Dobalina. Good to see you. Very good friend of mine. He's a local fellow, local musician.
Wonderful.
One day he's going to come on and do a show with us. He doesn't know it yet.
You're just going to force him on. Let's give him a link. Come and check this out, mate.
Yeah. Bro, you've got the privilege and the honor of doing the shout out.
Yeah.
Before we start the show, bro.
I'll do it right this second. We've got Derek Clacton. He said, "Man down, get well soon, Simon. Shame you won't get to rank cocaine." I love that. And we've got Ellen Toll. My mother's in the chat. Thanks for joining us. We've got Jim, Jazz Thunder 50. Bob Dobalina, as he dobbed in just a minute ago. We've got Gretch Zeppelin, Jimmy Ray Hawkins. We have who else have we got in there? Tim Thomas. Thank you for joining. So I knew there was someone else I saw there, and some bloke called 50 on 50 Show. So we'll block that fella.
and crappy luxury. And
Oh,
guys,
Happy
do
Luxury, yes.
and do me a favor. The very first comment there. There's a link of there. It is there. That's Brad playing the intro to Layla. It's on the channel, and it'll take you to his it'll take you to his Instagram too. If you already aren't subscribed to him on Instagram, go and check that out, please.
On my YouTube. Yeah, then. That was just a little bit of fun, actually. If I knew, I should have done it a little bit more seriously. I was just having a bit of fun. My son was actually pressing start stop on the CD for me. I was like, right, press start. You go now. I go, yeah, I'll start it. I'd mess it up, and you go, Dad, do it again. So it was just a bit of fun.
Awesome. Before we start the show, folks, I got my package. I did a members only rough unboxing on the channel for it. 24 days, Brad. It arrived in New Zealand on the 4th. You couldn't script it, bro. And I had it delivered to me on the 28th. 24 days, 24 nights before we finally got it.
That's like a given. It was meant to happen, Andrew. I still, to this moment, can't believe it took that long for you to get it from customs.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow. It's
unbelievable. And it's disappointing actually, because mine obviously arrived in customs. I got it pretty quickly through customs, but it's disappointing. It took so long to get to us both, Andrew, regardless, before it got to custom. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I think that's probably a good time for us to talk about this because, it wasn't a cheap package. We got it under the impression that we were going to get it before the release date. That was what I was under the impression of. I could have bought it 2 weeks ago locally for close to $150 cheaper than what I paid for in the pre-release.
It's disappointing because the way it was advertised, it was limited edition, Andrew. And I know it's not Clapton's doing; it's his marketing team that have done the. I mean, Clapton wouldn't have his fingers on that pulse. It's not really nothing to do with it or a reflection on Eric Clapton whatsoever. But the marketing team or whoever it was that organised that, they should get a slap across the wrist. That's my opinion, because the people who went out of their way spending, X amount of dollars to get it to your country as well. Think about the shipping that was on top of the cost of the price, Andrew, and then converted to, say, for me, Australian dollars, it went up in price as well. So quite substantially. And then obviously the day it's released, it's available locally, and I still haven't got it. And it's cheaper locally. So that was a pretty poor thing to really happen. Really, what should have happened is maybe we got it a fortnight earlier or something, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to argue with that, and I'll be certainly mindful moving forward about how I go about ordering pre-releases in the future. So some good news for you folks out there too. If you've got the old DVD or the VHS footage, keep it. It's pretty good. 95% of the footage is the same footage on the Blu-ray. The only difference, clearly, for me, obviously, Brad, is the audio quality on the Blu-ray, as opposed to the old DVD. It's head and shoulders above the DVD. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they bring this out so you can stream it off iTunes or Apple TV, Brad.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I do agree, but I also think a lot of the split screen footage and that is not available on the original 24 Nights release, Andrew. So I actually love the footage of the same songs we've had with the additional footage and things like that, and the different camera shots and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. I found that was really like all of us here that are quite sort of close to 24 Nights, the DVD. The original one, the difference when you watch it. You go, oh, there's because there's certain angles, especially in stuff like Running on Faith, for example. I love the camera footage, the way they've done it in this release, because some of the footage is a bit different, Andrew.
Yeah.
So, and the split screen stuff, I love that because you get to watch, especially when they put the full length shot of Clapton and then the close up of his hands or something like that. That's for the guitar players, that's awesome. I love that stuff.
Um,
Yeah,
I don't want to get into an argument with you, bro, but I'm sure there's a lot of that on here too.
not quite like the same, I don't think, Andrew. There is, but not quite the same. Yeah, because there's just certain songs on there, like Running on Faith is a bit different. Like the footage, the camera angles and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, all right. I can
there is a difference.
I can say that I didn't notice it. Mind you, well, yeah, I've been under the weather, so but I
Yeah,
certainly do look forward. I only watched the
yeah.
rock nights. I haven't watched the orchestra or the blues nights, so I'll
Uh,
certainly be looking forward to doing that over the next couple of weeks.
yeah, I still haven't sunk my teeth into the symphony stuff properly yet because I've been focusing on all this, the rock one and previously the blues one. So looking forward to the symphony one as well. But I think if you spend a little bit more time getting intimate with the Blu-ray, Andrew, you'll notice there is a lot of different footage in there that we probably have never seen until now. So it's
Cool.
good. Some of the split screen stuff is definitely different. There's footage of the band. There's footage of they'll do a split screen and there might be some spot
Mm,
where Nathan East is looking across and stuff like that. Like
mm,
it's pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
fantastic.
Good.
Let us know, guys, what you think of the Blu-ray footage. If you've got the package, if you've seen it,
Mm. Yeah.
um,
I
either in the chat now or on comments later on. We'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say about the footage, the video footage, because that certainly enhanced the package for me, bro. That's
yeah,
one of the things that got me interested.
100%. I've actually got to say something though. I think you have to have watched the footage, and I found it would be really hard to do what you and Simon did without the footage first ranking, because the footage actually gives you a broader spectrum of what's happening. So for the people that are ranking it that have not seen the footage and just off the audio, you're going to have a delight once you see the audio because it makes it all come to life, if that makes sense. Andrew, you can see the things that are going on. You know what's going on. It's not just listening and trying to work it out. You can actually see it. So it's I guess for a feast for the eyes and the ears when you're watching the Blu-ray is what I'm trying to get to.
Good spotting, Gretch. No, it's not a new hat. It's an old new hat, if you know what I mean. It's an old hat that I've had that I don't wear often when I do the show with you guys. So top marks for having a keen eye. You must be a hat man. Good advice, bro. Good advice. So the plan moving forward, folks, is obviously we're going to do the orchestra nights. We're not sure whether that's going to be one night or 2 nights at this stage. We're still tossing up. And then we're going to spend some time talking about the gear. I know that we've done that before, but Brad and I and the Rock Professor are going to get some photos, and we're going to talk about the Soldanos. Brad's going to do a video for you guys as well. So I recommend that you hang around in a couple of weeks for us when we show that, because he's going to just talk about some technical tips that you may not be aware of when it comes to that Clapton Stratocaster, and Brad's going to do that and finalise it, and we're going to have that reference on the channel forever, bro. We can just say, look, if you want to know about the Clapton Strat, go and watch this.
I'll bring back a bit of the old tone tips or whatever you used to do. But
Oh,
a small
yeah.
disclaimer. I'll say it right now. We're not going to be playing. I'm not going to be playing Clapton songs during the episode or for the
No,
video because I don't want to flag. I don't want us to get flagged for it because
no.
that would be disappointing to do a whole show and get
Yeah.
flagged for one little video you throw in there. So I'll just play some bluesy licks and stuff like that and explain the utility of the guitar itself, and might even explain a couple of things that I've noticed Clapton does since the new footage that I've seen compared to 24 Nights. I've picked up a lot of what he actually does with the TBX and well, not so much the TBX, even not just with the boost, the 25 dB boost and his master volume. I'll repeat it again because I think I said it last episode, Andrew. There's footage of him where he boosts it, he leaves it boosted, but he just rides the volume like old school sort of thing. So
Yeah.
the 25 dB boost is up, but
Yeah.
he's just riding the master volume, and it cleans up pretty good. I'll demonstrate that anyway. Which is
Yeah.
it's very similar to what if you're using like a pedal, like for example, Steve Ray Vaughan used to use a fuzz pedal, leave it on. Hendrix did. Monterey is a perfect example. Leave the fuzz on and just ride the master volume on your guitar, and it cleans up really sparkly and everything. And then when he winds it up, it thickens up and goes mad. That's sort of similar thing it does without it being a fuzz. It's just a dB boost, if that makes sense, to fatten that spectrum of sound. So
Yeah. Well, it certainly definitely gives you that distorted tone, folks. I was just talking to Brad in the green room. I was playing my Clapton Strat through my 5150 and just having it on 8, the volume on 8 with the tone boost turned up. It's amazing how you can get, that authentic, close to authentic Strat tone, and that's just on 8. And you just turn it up to 10, Brad, and it's just bang. It's remarkable. But as Brad said, there's lots of clips of Clapton where he's just riding that volume. Yeah. Brad spoke about the Brad's tech and tone tips. So I got the video. Remember these? Remember this?
Now it's time for Brad's tech and tone tips.
Just we've progressed and moved forward since then, haven't we?
Oh my lord! Still handsome though, aren't you? Hey,
try to keep up with the old image.
Yeah, good on you, bro.
How long ago was that? Yeah, it wasn't that long
ago. A couple of years ago. Shit,
yeah.
I'm not counting. I'm not counting.
feels like yesterday. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Brad's tech and tone tips. Yeah. So Derek remembers he was here when we were doing that. So like I say, folks, we're going to do that, and we're going to have a round table as well. We're going to get Crappy. Well, if Crappy wants to come on, he's more than welcome to. But we're going to get Jim on. We're going to get Michael on, and we're going to get Brad, obviously, myself and Rock Professor, and we're just going to have just a debrief, bro. That's one of the plans we're going to have, talking about our own personal experiences with this package.
Yeah, 100%.
We've got a few things planned. You want to kick off the show, bro?
I reckon we should just dive straight into it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, let's dive. Let's just TikTok. It's time to rock. Let's do it. So, pretty much what we did last week, for anyone who is just tuning in, we went through the first 8 tracks on 24 Nights definitive version on the Rock CD, on the Rock Blu-ray. We went through the first 8. So today we're picking up from the final 8, which is Knocking on Heaven's Door is the next one along the track. I saw this Knocking on Heaven's Door on Across 24 Nights in the cinema. So It was no surprise to see it again when I watched it, but it's a wonderful version. It's a beautiful mellow intro. Obviously, it features Phil Collins right up front on the hi-hats. You got Greg Philligaines and Nathan East up front as well. Nathan East is on his 5-string bass. It's a very mellow version, stripped back. It's like I guess you could put it like a skin and bones type thing. They did a bit of electric guitar, bass with hi-hats just to really keep the time there for them. Very mellow. Visually, it's fantastic. When it gets to the chorus and there's a 3-way split screen, Andrew, and you can see all the members of the band contributing vocally to the chorus. And, Eric has that beautiful sparkly, crystal sort of clean tone happening on the Strat. There's obviously the chorus, the tritone chorus, or whatever it is, with that Soldano and the Stratocaster. Eric's vocals on the song, they're just very strong but dynamic. You see, he's not just a guitar player in the band anymore. He's a real vocalist. I feel like we mentioned that quite a bit on the last few episodes about this, but it's important to note, so people understand that Clapton is, at this point in his life, 3 years sober, Andrew, around 3 years sober, and he's got a bit of clarity. His voice is, he's been doing a lot in this 24 Nights thing, leading up to it as well, so his vocals are very strong at this point, and I love his voice in this, the way he sings. He's got this natural thing with his voice that is very hard to emulate, Andrew. It's like a growly groan sort of thing without even forcing it. It just sort of happens. And I'm going to go as far as saying he used to try to do that to sound gruff like an old bluesman singing, where now his voice at this point in his career has actually transformed to that through age and maturity and the trials and tribulations of life, the things he's done, the not so good stuff, like the alcohol, the drugs, the smoking. It's all, but because he's so developed as a vocalist, he's got that dynamics, and he can really push when he needs to and pull back beautifully. He does it so well in this song. Eric plays a wonderful solo in this. It's very mellow, and I love hearing Eric play like this. This real mellow sort of, let's just say, he's just improvising. He knows what he's doing, though. It's a fantastic thing, and I had this discussion with someone, my girlfriend, today about it. It's like he puts what he's feeling inside through the guitar, and that's a real gift, Andrew. That's not something that every guitarist can do. It's something that everyone can sit down and practice their butt off and learn scales and do all that stuff. And he's playing with his eyes shut. He's feeling every note he's playing. It's really delicate playing too. It's beautiful. Even the BVs during that solo section, it's beautiful. You can hear the oohs, the way they're doing all that while he's playing the solo. It's wonderful. The other thing, you can see the camaraderie with this lineup. They truly have a mutual respect for each other. You can see it by the way they're looking at each other in the footage, Andrew. They really have an admiration for each other. I love how the song ends with that a cappella sort of singing that they're doing, the four-way singing, and the crowd interaction where they start clapping along. That's what it's all about, getting the crowd involved, and it's a live performance as well, Andrew. I'm going to give it a strong 8.5 out of 10 and never a skip. Andrew.
Your wonderful analysis and some opinions there and thoughts, bro. Appreciate it. Always epic and fantastic. As Jim said last week, you were on the money last week, and you're obviously continuing that right through clearly to the second episode. Look, I have to agree with you. When I saw this on the film Across 24 Nights, I knew that this was something new, evidently. We hadn't seen it, so, gobsmacked. And it was a talking piece with us after the show with me and a few friends, and obviously you and I, when we got together and we did our review of it, I think the night after, one of the highlights. And I think you're right, that camaraderie that these guys had when they were playing live shines through, and I had that in the back of my mind before I saw it again yesterday when I was listening to the tracks, that those images of those smiling faces and the looks that they had with each other, clearly enjoying it, knowing that they were probably doing something special too. And we can talk about that, I suppose, at the end with our conclusion about this package and this gig. But I have to agree with you, that classic Strat tone that Clapton gets on this, not Clapton's classic 24 tone, is the classic Strat tone that we're all familiar with on this is fantastic. I love that reggae vibe that comes through. Not a lot of guys can do this, but we know Clapton can, and he's got pedigree, hasn't he? He's done this all the way back with I Shot Sheriff, bro, you know, so, and he's hung out with a lot of these Jamaican guys and musicians over the years too, bro, so he's, you know, he's had direct lessons, and it doesn't sound counterfeit, you know, I like it. Nathan East, as you said, clearly is an inspiration, and the way that he just drives that through with his bass, especially on some of these other songs that we're going to talk about, is just phenomenal. I love the keys too, bro. I think the keys on that intro just gave it something that I probably didn't pick up when I was visually watching it. When I was listening to it, then I was, yeah, you know, the keys coming through, because, you know, you can't obviously, you know, pick up everything. I like the idea of you and I and the Rock Professor maybe coming back in a year's time doing part 3 on this package when we've digested it a little bit more. I've already said to you, Nathan East's bass on this track is phenomenal, and I have to again, bro, mention it again. Look, mate, my ranking is pretty close to yours. I've got 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Never a skip. Hey,
Yeah.
Jimmy Ray.
Glad you mentioned the keyboards, because I looked at one of my notes there, Andrew, and I forgot to mention the guitar at the start with Greg Fillinganes. And then in the background, someone, I don't know who it is playing keyboards, because the light goes on them very dimly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, Andrew. Thanks for that, because I completely and utterly went off on a tangent about Eric's voice and lost my notes there. So the next song, I'm glad we're on par with that, and there's a few comments that are coming through about rankings from the chat, which is great. The next song is Old Love, and this has always been one of my favorite Clapton songs, and it clearly resonates very strongly with Clapton. You know, he mentions that this was done with Robert Cray, and I love the way this song starts off so delicately, you know, leading to the first verse. It's very atmospheric and moody. It's got a very dense sound, but very open too, which is, you know, quite haunting. It sounds fantastic. And Eric's vocal, the way he comes in singing as the dynamic of the music drops off, he's singing so delicately and soulfully, and he manages to dynamically build his voice up with the pre-chorus, and then uncharacteristically, they make the chorus softer than the pre-chorus. It drops back down, Andrew, and it's like, and then he sings that very softly, like, oh love, like he's,
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That stuff there is gold. You're hearing, you know, by the time the first chorus is finishing, you're hearing absolute brilliance in musicianship there. The band is so tight; they're very well rehearsed, Andrew. We know we've spoken about this quite a bit, so you know, without repeating, they're so tight. They've got this down. They're holding it together for, you know, Eric. Like, the whole thing sounds amazing. The guitar tone in this song is outstanding. We know what gear he's using. You know, the Soldano, the Marshall. It's beautiful, and there's some beautiful bass playing from Nathan East. Eric Clapton's first guitar solo in this is something else. It sounds like a man weeping. I love how Eric Clapton makes you feel the pain through the strings with the space between his notes. That's the simplest way I can put it, and I still can't express it properly. The way, you know, he does do floods of notes in it as well, but then he stops like he's taking a breath of air. You know, it's like someone having a conversation, Andrew, and you go, blah, you know, I went to the shops, blah, 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 and you got to take a breath, yeah. And that's sort of like, it gets out there. It's showing, and in the context of this song, it'd be like, yeah, the girl really, you know, stuffed me up, broke my heart, and I had to let it go. You know, like the way he's sort of phrasing that on guitar is like that. It makes you feel that experience, the pain in the experience through the guitar, which is that's a gift. That's a gift. You know, a God-given gift there. The way Eric comes in singing after the solo, the crowd cheers. They got the adulation. I've got to give a lot of credit to Phil Palmer for those intricate little pieces he's playing. You know, the rhythm guitar parts. He's keeping that very much like the Journeyman soundtrack, like the album, Andrew. It's got that rhythm guitar down, very much like they pulls it off wonderfully. We then hear like a solo from Greg on the keyboards. Um, the keyboards sound a little bit soft in the mix. It kind of sound a little bit lost a bit at times, but I don't know if that's because of the dynamics, the way he's playing or whatnot, but still sounds great nevertheless. Then Eric comes in playing guitar again with another wonderful solo. It's delicate, soft. We get close-ups of the neck with the pewter grey strat again, the highlighted flame maple neck, which makes me drool. We're all drooling over that. And then obviously that we get, the neck pickup tone from the Stratocaster played wonderfully. Eric increases the volume on his guitar I've got here to build with the dynamics. You see him start off with the volume on his guitar very soft, Andrew. And this is one example I've been talking about with the lifting the volume on his guitar as what he's doing. He starts off playing the solo very, very light and then builds it up. He's expressing himself emotionally through the whole thing. And then comes to an abrupt, and there's more bluesy notes from him. It's a wonderful version of this song. I could go on about it for a long time because it is one of my favorite Clapton songs. I'm so grateful that Eric's decided to share this stuff with us now, 32 years later. This is a 100 out of 10, and it's never a skip for me, Andrew.
Yeah, it's an incredible song, isn't it? And I think, all versions of this song, in my opinion, are incredible. This one here is, amazing, and I'll tell you why, because the band is so cohesive in their presentation of this number. It's a standout track. It's one that I'm sure the band enjoys playing themselves. And there's a couple of comments here that I want to use to highlight my presentation of the song. Derek's saying that music expression requires technique. Yes, it does, but ultimately it's a gift. Certainly is. Bob Dobalina is saying that Clapton is an underrated singer. 100%.
Yeah.
When you go and listen to this package, certainly an underrated singer. And then there's another nice comment here, again from Derek, about Phil being a great second guitarist. You don't see Phil a lot. Phil's standing in the background. He's in the dark. He's in that area there where it's black.
Yeah.
He's not like Doyle standing right next to him. Now is he? He's back in the mix, and again, all credit to Phil and his contribution. And obviously, we're going to talk more about him as we progress through the rankings. But look, I agree with you, Brad. I've always loved this song. I think it's one of the great songs. I ranked it highly when we first spoke about this. I'm just trying to think. What's the other famous version that he did on this, Old Love? Unplugged.
Oh, yes.
An incredible song. And there's a couple of other songs coming up too that we know that have a personal connection to Clapton. You can't help but think that there's something going on with this song, Brad, with Clapton, and it transcends it. I agree with you. I think the video certainly enhances it. It's remarkable work that they did back in 1990 with this video. One of the highlights. Originally, bro, I was going to give this 9.5. This morning I went through and had a look. I can't give this less than a 10, Brad.
Yeah, it's a beautiful version, and just to back up what you said there, Andrew, I think this song really resonates with Clapton. So that's why every performance of it's outstanding, in my opinion.
The Hyde Park version, Crappy Luxury is right. Outstanding.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's a great version. So the next song on the go is No Alibis. And firstly, before I go into my rankings, Andrew brought this to my attention when it first got put up on a streaming platform, and I went, okay, I'll go listen to it, and I was blown away. Andrew goes, "You got to listen to this, bro." Blah blah blah. You can hear so much, and I'm going to try and leave a little bit for that for you to discuss, Andrew, if that's all right, because I don't want to take your, what you told me. I don't want to put it word for word. So, because I'm thinking exact same thing when I'm hearing it. But so I'm going to, hopefully you cover a little bit of that off, Andrew. But No Alibis, it starts off with that ambient keyboard intro as the drums build up, and the solo launches with as Eric winds up that black Stratocaster, and the footage of it is outstanding. It gives me chills watching it. You get to see Eric turn the dB boost up on his guitar to get that screaming strat tone that we love so much. Eric comes in singing that part, and I beg your pardon, and graces us with his wonderful vocal take on this song. The band sounds fantastic. There's two drummers, one bass, rhythm guitar, there's guitar, lead guitar, there's keyboards, there's backing singers. It's a feast for our ears. The one thing I will say about the bass is it sounds incredible, and Nathan Niss's bass playing is incredible on this. Andrew spoke to me about that. I'll leave that for him to discuss. Eric Clapton comes in with a solo that is characteristically him screaming with that TB booster on. It's very much the strat tone that we love from 24 Nights, captivated in one song, this whole version of this. He's really on fire in this song vocally and on guitars. I love how they perform this song. It's a stellar performance. You have to do yourself a favor. I've spoken to a lot of people over the last few weeks about 24 Nights, Andrew, and the release and everything like that. Get away from your computer screen speakers and your tiny little stuff that you put in your ears and that, and listen to it through a proper stereo. You have to listen to this through a proper stereo, Andrew. I'm going to say it because the mix sounds incredible when it's played loud, and you can't capture everything through a small speaker. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. You're not going to hear the clarity of everything. It sounds incredible. Do yourself a favor, take the headphones out, turn the computer off, go find a proper stereo, listen to it through that. You'll be shocked. That's all I'm going to say. Then obviously Eric launches into another solo that's outstanding. I love how he switches to the neck pickup to get that rich, deep sustain that we love. I'm a neck pickup guy on a Strat, and I love it when Clapton hits that neck pickup. It's just the whole tone just takes off. There's a shot of Nathan where he's looking across at Eric while Eric's playing the solo, just smiling and admiring what Clapton's doing. There's truly a respect of what coming from him, of what Eric is actually all about. And without sort of sounding too silly, I have to mention Eric Clapton looks really cool in this song too. The way he's wearing the white t-shirt and the suit and the black Stratocaster. It's just it's a killer look with the longer hair and the beard and everything like that. It's like a biblical vision for a guitarist biblical vision. 100 out of 10, Andrew. I can't rank it any less.
Look, I got to agree with you. And again, a wonderful summary and presentation, bro. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to sit back and listen to you and the Rock Professor give your thoughts. And just remember, folks, we're only fans, just like you guys here in the chat. We're only fans sharing our thoughts and impressions and love for the music that inspires and motivates us in our daily lives. Without it, we wouldn't be half as good as we are today. Look, I have to agree with Brad. This was the track, folks, that sold me on the remix and the audio work that Simon Climie did on this package. And Brad and I spoke about this. We messaged each other quite a few times about it, because it was a track clearly, that both of us are very, very familiar with. And there are a couple of things, and I appreciate you, Brad, giving me an opportunity to talk about them. The first thing that I noticed remarkably from other mixes was the way that Clapton rips that bottom E string before he gets into that fiery intro solo. It's remarkable, and again, it's in context when you watch the video and you can actually see him doing it, and it's just like, wow. And you can hear it, and again, Brad's correct. I was listening to it initially through my earpods, and then obviously through my car stereo, and then yesterday through my stereo. So there are sonic differences, but we're not snobs here. Go and listen to it. I suppose that's the point that we want to say, don't we, bro? Ultimately, go and listen to it.
Yep.
That's when I was convinced, bro, that this package was something remarkable. And it only takes a couple of other things. The second thing that sold me on it, again, and Brad and I had discussed this a few times, Nathan East on the original audio, you can hear the chords that Nathan's playing. You don't hear the passing notes that a bass player likes to play before they go to the next chord. On this, you can hear everything Nathan's playing, bro.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. That's, and when you brought it to my attention, Andrew, without taking over your ranking, I listened to it and I was like, I've never heard some of this stuff that Nathan's playing.
Nor had I.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we might do something like that. Only, but we are only fans. Oh my Lord!
Cheeky.
Back to work.
Yeah.
But look, that was the point for me, folks. I suppose that you need to hear something in a package that's identifiable. Like, for example, I'm going to make a slight little detour here. When Giles went and did the remix of Revolver and Tomorrow Never Knows, and you can hear the guitar in the background on the original. When Giles is playing on his remix, you can hear the guitar on this ear, and then in the center, and then on the left ear, he moves the guitar. Whereas on the original, it's just only there on your right center. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's just something that we notice. And I think this is a great package. And again, I'm repeating myself. I've only listened to this about 15 times since it came out, so we're still kind of digesting it, aren't we? Even though we're familiar with it, we're still digesting it. So, always been a favourite track of mine, bro. I ranked it highly. I think I gave it a Brad score in fact, I know I did. I gave it a Brad score when we did Journeyman. On the original 24 Nights, I gave this a Brad score. I love all versions of this that he played around this time. There's a great track, a live track, where Daryl comes out and he sings the background vocals when they're in Argentina at the River Plate. Go and check that concert out. And that's when I was convinced, bro, that Soldano Stratocaster setup that Clapton's got, that he played here in 24 Nights, sounds just as good on that Argentina concert, bro. In fact, that Argentina concert probably sounds even more on fire. Yeah.
Yes. 100%. I'm going to go back and watch that now because it's been a while since I've seen that, about a year more.
Oh,
yeah.
Look, I have to agree with Brad. This is a Brad score, folks. It's one of my favourite songs of ever from Clapton, and certainly one of the defining songs of his of this early 90s period for him. He nailed it, bro. He nailed it. They nailed it.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more, Andrew. I've got a point that I want to raise at the end of all this, relating to Journeyman, Andrew. So if I forget, can you try and remind me?
Sure.
Or someone in the chat? I don't
Sure.
want to do it now. I want to do it at the end. I've just thought of something relevant, and I think it's a good discussion point. So I'm glad we're pretty much on par at the moment, Andrew, which is great. There's
Cool.
no timeouts yet, because I don't want to do a show on my own if you're timed out. So you know, so it's
Trust me, there's no timeouts here, brother.
So okay, we come to the next section of the Blu-ray and CD is Tearing Us Apart, and I think I've mentioned previously, Andrew, that one of my favorite versions of this song is Eric at Nebworth when he's wearing the pink suit with the pewter grey strap. That's one of my most knockout versions. But I think this is slowly becoming, or might get up there with my favorite version of the song. Nathan East is playing over that top of that wonderful drum intro with that funk sort of feel. It's wonderful. Nathan East is playing on this is just outstanding, and the sound he's got is phenomenal. The band is sort of vamping over the top of Nathan's little solo spot. You know, Eric's sort of playing those little licks and stuff like that. Song kicks in, and the band are happening. I mean, there's natural movement on stage. All the musicians, while they're playing, they're moving. You know, it's a visual treat as much as it is an audio treat. They can't help it. I guess the song's got a lot of feel, a lot of funk to it, a lot of movement. So their bodies are moving as part of that funk as well. You can see, Nathan East is really laying down that bass, but he's moving in momentum with the funk. It's unreal, and you can see, his background vocals are outstanding on this as well. Nathan East, it's a highlight for him. I think this song, Eric's vocal again, the way he comes in, he's just showing us how much of a marvelous singer he actually is. The background vocals from the whole band are outstanding. Phil Palmer takes the lead guitar parts while Eric's singing and playing. You hear the I think it's Katie Kasu who plays sings the Tina Turner part of the song. She sounds beautiful. She's really enjoying every moment of that spotlight. Eric's just standing back, and I love the footage of him where he's just smiling, and he's watching her sing, and that obviously shows he admires everyone in his band. He's really admiring what she's doing, and the middle of that song breaks down with that wonderful bass line that Nathan East does. And then Eric launches into a guitar solo. There's that strat tone again. That dB boost is on. While he's playing, the whole band's moving in unison. They're all doing the same dance moves. It's incredible. I mean, it's a well rehearsed band, but the band's having fun in this song. I reckon I'll go as far as saying every time they got to this, the set list and the song before, and they see this song coming up in the set list, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go," because it's got a lot of got a vibe to it. Yeah, it's really cool. There's one thing about Eric's band, which, like we said, I said it in the opening of the first rock one, which, if you haven't watched, please go back and watch another time. His band are well rehearsed for this segment of the show, Andrew. They're very well rehearsed in comparison to the Blues Nights, and they sound like a monster. Every member of the band, they just sound phenomenal. Steve Ferrone's playing like a monster on the drums. Greg Fillinganes is having fun. Tessa dancing around him. The outro solo again launches with some blistering signature Clapton licks and stylings. I love how they build this song up towards the end, and it speeds up. Very cool. The band has a lot of chemistry. Again, visually, you see them sort of playing off each other, and there's a great sort of visual for me of Eric Clapton and Nathan standing off together, and they're just smiling, and you see the admiration for each other. It's amazing. To think we've been waiting 32 years for this footage and material that's been sitting in a vault for that long is just, I don't know, Andrew. I'm so glad we got it, but it's frustrating at the same time that it's taken this long for us to actually get it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, Andrew, and never a skip.
Yeah, look, I have to agree with you. It was certainly, again, one of the highlights from the Across 24 Nights film. It was just a fantastic thing to see. And as Brad said, they played it live, had certainly that party vibe that transcends the video, folks, into the audio. You can pick that up. Nathan East is really, really tight on his bass, but also the snap that... who's the drummer? Ferrone gets with the snare on this track is just remarkable. You guys have already mentioned Katie. I won't talk about that, but what a solo. What an epic solo from Clapton on this track. And I've got a note here, folks, becoming one of my faves off this package. I had the privilege of ranking this with the Rock Professor and Rock Professor and Brad on August. This was on August.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And we were blown away with the August version of it. And again, I have to back up what Brad said about that wonderful Nebworth concert. And we're going to do a show, folks, one day on that. I promise you, we're going to, we talk about that show often, that pink suit and the wind blowing and ruffling that Armani suit, bro. It's an epic gig. And that's the version that we had for a long time, didn't we? Until we got this tight version. Look, I know that we're doing... We should be doing the audio, folks, but every now and again, if there's a DVD package or some video footage, we'll always relate that to our rankings and to our presentation. That's what we do. We're about making these links. If you haven't seen this footage, I don't know if it's on YouTube. I don't know if anybody has uplifted it onto YouTube. If they haven't, somebody please upload it onto YouTube. But if you haven't, go and buy the Rock package just for that, bro.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Go and get the Rock package just for that, and you'll be amazed. I gave this a 10 out of 10. Are you surprised by that?
Not at all. Not at all. Fantastic.
Becoming, honestly, bro, one of my faves.
Yeah, that was exactly what I said. It's fantastic. It's great. So we come to the next song, Andrew, which is that Dirty Cocaine, as they sing it in the song, Cocaine. And,
I'm just going to interrupt you. Remind me when you want to go through the pics, and we'll throw up those pics, but we'll also show the pics from your gig too that we didn't do on the intro. So we'll do that during halftime.
We'll do it maybe after this song then. How's that sound?
Okay, bro.
So this is Cocaine. It's I've always had a love-hate relationship with this song for some reason, and I enjoy their recorded version. There's some live versions that I can't stand because I'm so actually attached to the recorded version that Clapton did, because the Clapton version has, like the recorded version from his album, has a lot of gruffness, and when it's too polished, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but this is a great version of it. I love that kick drum backbeat, the way that sort of they've arranged this song. Once the song comes in, it's all in. There's power, there's horns, sounds fantastic. Clapton comes in singing really strong and powerful. The verses, he sings with a lot of swagger, that cocaine, he does that dirty cocaine. It's he's made it very cool again, in my opinion, on this package. The chorus, there's some highlights, amazing background vocals from the band. Visually, there's a scene through the second verse with Nathan East. Looks like he's loving every moment of this song. He's really just enjoying it. The drums, the bass line, the guitars, the keyboards, the brass. It's a big version of Cocaine. It's a big version of the song. The first solo comes in and starts off like he's taking a stroll in the park, Andrew. He's not like, he's really just taking it easy and just a little bit of swagger. There's nothing like flashy too out of the gate. It's all just, slowly out of the gate. But the solo builds, there's a lot of double stops. There's a lot of some beautiful bending and vibrato. It's all class. The band are locked in really tight behind his solo. After the solo, the band come back in to the signature, chord structure that ends and abrupts and stops before the song, adds like a bit of a long pause, and the song comes back in. We're another couple of verses and choruses and, some Hammond playing there. And then there's some footage of, Phil Gaines and Clapton split screen, conversationing while that solo is going on, which is pretty funny to watch. And Steve Ferrone is incredible on the drums. I gave this a solid 8 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip. Andrew.
Bro, I got to call it as I see it, and we love Clapton on this show. But I have to tell you, the horns in the intro are a distraction to me. The horns it's just a distraction. And it's not suited. It's not suited to the intro to the song. The horns get better though when they're playing with the verse. Yep. With the verses of the songs, the horns sound really good, but in the intro, it just it's a distraction, in my opinion. As Brad said, it's a song that we're all familiar with. It came out on Slow Hand, didn't it? It was one of the key songs during the 70s. Yeah. And in my opinion, I think Clapton played it much better in the 2000s, bro, with his versions.
Yeah.
I don't think he quite nailed this song as well in the early 90s, like a lot of other songs, because I don't know what he was trying to do with it. But it doesn't work for me on this, other than the solo. The solo is a full blast solo. It's not the solo that you would expect if you were listening to this song and you heard, say, some of the other earlier 70s versions of this song with that thin Stratocaster tone that he had. Because, if it saves itself with 3 points from being a 5 to a 8, it's the solo, bro. So like you, I too have given it an 8 out of 10. But never a skip.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Yeah. So want to show some photos, Andrew? I think you've got to that point of the show. We'll show a few photos.
Yep. Ellen's saying 8.5 too, and Derek is saying he thought the horns made the arrangement sound a bit cluttered in the intro too. So thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Yes, I agree.
All right, folks. We're just going to flick through some photos, and then Brad's going to talk about some gig photos. So hold on. Where are we? So the photos this week are brought to you by these 3 rat bags.
Yeah, one's off having recovery from touring.
So that's the before shot, and that's the after shot. Oh my Lord! Okay.
Yeah. Look, they're just some pretty good visual photos, I think, that show a good spread of the band. Obviously, the girls over there, Clapton looking very cool in his suit, Marnie's suit.
Nathan
Cool.
looking hot in his.
Yep, that's a really cool picture. The leather pants, you know, never too cool to wear leather pants and a black Stratocaster, Andrew.
And whatever you do, boys and girls, you don't wash your leather pants, okay?
Get them dry cleaned.
Oh, is that what you... Oh, I
Yeah.
thought they just like stand up by themselves, Brad, in the
Oh,
corner
yeah.
of your...
Depends on how long you've had. I've had some since the 90s that stand up on their own. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right. What's going on here with this? All right.
Yeah, that's another very cool photo with the, that's Clapton wearing the leather pants again. Obviously, it's great visuals. It really captivates the stage setting well. Obviously, you can see Steve Ferrone over and behind Eric Clapton there on the drums, like right over there on the stage right, looking at the stage, and Ray Cooper's up the back there with percussion and another drum kit there as well. Pretty much hidden up there behind Katie.
Hot band.
And that's that footage that's a photo of pretty much like that outfit that I said he looked very cool with the casual white t-shirt, but the Armani suit and the black Stratocaster and the hair and beard. So it looks like a vision from a biblical movie or something like that. Very cool. Yeah, just smiling, having a bit of a grin there. It's funny because Clapton, he doesn't like to show a lot of emotion. I've noticed he's very, hard looking. Like he doesn't like to smile a lot. But when he smiles, his whole being comes to life. Andrew, when he looks like he's enjoying it, you can tell he's right into it. That's a cool photo, and that's just a. Have you noticed in nearly every single photo of him taking a solo that his eyes are shut and he tilts his head or it's back?
Yep.
And that's something that I've got in some of the notes here on some of these other songs.
He's always done it.
Yeah.
Always does it. Very seldom do you see Clapton looking at his fretboard. Very seldom.
That's where that natural gift is, Andrew, that he's got, Yes, that's a cool photo. Never a skip. Never ever a skip, Andrew.
All right, so thank you, Rock Professor Brad and Andrew, for this week's photos. Brad, tell us about these.
Oh yes, well, I had on Friday I had a gig in Launceston, Tasmania of Australia, at the Princess Theatre in Launceston. It's a beautiful theatre, very cool little set. That's the backline hire was a Marshall, and that's my BC Rich on the right there. But the theatre was beautiful, and we had a wonderful there. It's got this little dome section above the top. The sound in there was fantastic. I actually made a little joke, saying this feels like a little mini Royal Albert Hall. It felt,
yes.
It had that vibe about it. It's very old. There's a lot of history in the and that's my shot of the office there for the night. So I'm on the sort of, that's behind my Marshall head there, facing out way. So I just thought that would be a good shot to show what it was like. It was a full house, like I think it was sold out. So it was a great night. And it was good to get back.
How old's that theatre, bro?
Geez, I would say
100 years.
Yes, has to be, mate. It's there's a lot of history in there. You can see it, in the Art Deco, the walls, everything. It's just like very, the outside of the building. You can really tell. But if you have a look, I mean, the photos don't really do it any justice, Andrew. But you can see in the photos that it is very, what do you call it? Retro, very old school, very I'm going to Google it actually, see how old it is, because you've got my.
So that dispels the myth that Tasmania got power and was discovered in 1970.
No, it's yeah. So I mean, look, it was a beautiful. I didn't get a photo of the outside, which is silly. I should have got a photo of that, but the outside of the theater looks incredible too. So, but anyway, it's I'm just trying to find it. I'm sorry. I should probably prepare this later, but yeah, it's a yeah. I can't find it. Anyway, I'll look for it later, Andrew. How old that
No
theater
problem, bro.
was. Yeah, but it's a beautiful place, and the weather down there is a lot cooler, and it's a very nice. The plane ride in was a little bit of a scary one, I must admit. Yeah, it sort of kept us like this, and there was like a few minutes. It was very windy, very windy, and it was pouring around rain. So I thought, yeah, well, look, I'm gonna kiss the ground when I get out of this plane. Yeah.
Good boy. That's the way. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Always be
Anyway,
thankful. Terra firma. We love terra firma, bro.
but we got there in the end, so that's all good. It's all good. But thanks for showing us, Andrew. Yeah, that was a wonderful gig. Wonderful gig.
No problem. No problem. As I say, folks, if you're not subscribed or following Brad on Instagram, there he is there. If you watch it on replay, easy. At Brad Cook Music, follow him there and he'll keep you up to date with what he's doing with those picks and any other bits and pieces that he does.
Yeah, I try to do some cool things there, Andrew. I try my best. You know what I mean? I think I've just been trying to do some looking. Anyway, I think it was done in 1911, Andrew.
Okay, so she's old. It's a hundy.
Mm,
She's over a hundy. Yeah.
pretty sure. Anyway, that's at a quick glance on Google without sort of deep diving in. So yeah, she was a lot of
Google
history.
never lies.
Yeah. So we got through cocaine. We both gave it 8. I think there's a few in the chat that gave it around the same, which is good. So the next song is an absolute delight. It's called "Wonderful Tonight," and I love the original of this song just as much. But I think the dynamics of this song, the way they do it, is incredible, Andrew. And this song is one of my son's favorite songs from the whole package. He sat and watched it all with me. He absolutely adores this song. And
Wow.
he said to me that, when he gets a girlfriend, when he gets a bit older, he's going to sing this song to his girlfriend. And I said, I wasn't that kid. He goes, but I haven't picked a girl yet. So the way you said
He's
it
got it
was like,
planned.
yeah.
That's the way.
Good boy.
That's the way.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few broken hearts around my house, I can tell. Here we go. He's just getting to that age too. But yeah, it's a wonderful version of the song, and my son loves it. It's got that mellow ambient intro with the chimes played by Ray Cooper. You see him doing the chimes. Visually, it's a very unique sound, those chimes. It makes it sound very windy and earthy. That Stratocaster tone, we hear Clapton play some beautiful, clean, bluesy licks over the top of that wonderful tone he's got. Then the song kicks in, and it's like the lighting and everything gets big, and then lifts and comes straight back down, mate. The dynamic of the song is sitting in the pocket. Eric comes in singing wonderfully well, just very, very delicately. Eric, the band are barely playing behind him at this point, Andrew. They're keeping it very dynamic as opposed to the original version. The background vocals from Nathan East and the girls through the verses are wonderful. The bridge section opens up a little bit more. There's some open snare playing because opposed to like the rest of the song at the start there, it's all rim shot on the drum, Andrew. The solo kicks in. And it's all about emotion and feel. There's no blistering big guitar solo here. It's very heartfelt, delicate playing. It's beautiful. The last verse kicks in, and the band do like a double accent over the top of the aching head bit, where he sings that, I've got an aching head, dun, dun, dun. They do that sort of thing. The next section is a breakdown similar to the introduction of the song, which leads us to Katie Kasu's solo spot. And that's wonderful. It's very, very well done. Visually, you can see Eric Clapton staring across at her, just in awe of her vocal ability. And as she finishes, then Eric launches into a solo, and this time he opens up a little bit more. There's some scorching notes there, but he leads it back to a very delicate tone, Andrew, and his playing is very delicate. The song ends, sounds fantastic, and because it's my son's favorite song on the album as well, on the whole package, I have to give it a 10 out of 10, Andrew. It's beautiful. Andrew.
You go and say to your boy, well done, after the show, and give him a cuddle, because he's learning from his old man. He knows. He's getting it all sorted, bro. Look, I think I mentioned this to you guys the 2 other times we've spoken about this song. When I was a young guy, I used to always skip this song. I skipped this song because it was always played on the radio. It was a radio song, just like I used to skip Layla, because I wanted to listen to other stuff, other songs, when I was listening to Clapton. But I have to tell you, and I've got to back you up here, one of the great things about this song, for me, despite how Eric plays it on all the versions, it's a wonderful example of Eric as a songwriter, bro.
Yeah.
How he can take a simple thing about waiting to go to a party with Patty Boyd.
I love that. Yeah.
And Patty Boyd, who's inspired how many great rock and roll songs?
More than I can count in one hand, mate. That's for sure. 2 hands.
Yeah. It's just a yeah. And I just give me a second to. So in his biography, when did his biography come out? 2007, 2008. When I read it, and he's talking a little bit about some of these songs, and he's talking about how he's just waiting for her. Got the guitar to get ready. He's pissed off, like most guys are, because they want to go to the party and get on the piss, want to go, and what are you doing? Five dress changes, We all get it, don't we? We all get it. And he's talking about it. He's talking about this is actually something that happened, and I'm going, because I never thought about it from that point of view, Brad. And I go, wow, This guy can just take an ordinary thing that happens in life and turn it into a song. So I listened to that song seriously about 2007, 2008, didn't skip it like I had done, went back and renegotiated that along with half a dozen other songs when I started to take Clapton's music seriously as a religion for myself. Then I realized this is a great song. This is a great version of it. You've hit the nail on the head. Katie's background vocals, the aura that the film captures at the Royal Albert Hall. It's just a dramatic piece of music. And again, it's one thing that you have to see visually, and that is on YouTube. Yes. That's on YouTube, folks, so you can go and watch that. Clapton sings beautifully, bro, on this. He just sings... Yeah, it's one of the best versions of him singing the song. I too have given this a 10 out of 10. And mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, for all the years I skipped this song.
Mate, it's I'm glad you touched on the background of the song. It's it's a funny story, isn't it? I mean, every man's frustration waiting for their girl to get ready, and they just chant, it's late in the evening. Just wondering what. He's like written something so basic. He's written a love song out of it, and the funny thing is, it wasn't written out of it was written out of frustration, not love.
And he goes and looks for her too, and says, "I've got an aching head. It's time to go home now." So she drives home, puts him to bed. Okay, wow, wow!
Yeah.
I've been
Remi-
kicked out of the car. Get your
Hey,
ass home, boy, yourself.
Andrew, remind me to tell you in the green room what my girlfriend and I were talking about when it comes to Patty Boyd. She must have
Okay,
yeah, I won't say it here.
all
We'll
right.
leave it to the green room. So we get to the next song, which is Layla, and we all know Layla. It's just one of those signature Clapton songs that we've spent a lot of time on this channel talking about, Andrew. This is a version that I'd never heard before until this package. And the song starts off with that opening signature riff and launches, into the song. Eric comes in vocally, he's demanding attention, the verses show Eric as a true vocalist, in my opinion. During the choruses and during the verses, and then the chorus kicks in, and Phil Palmer takes the lead guitar part just while Eric
Mm,
plays rhythm underneath him vocally, and that's done so well. That transition between this is why I say they were very well rehearsed, because Clapton plays the intro part, and then while he's singing and playing the chorus, Phil Palmer's playing that part that Phil Palmer was not playing at the start, where it was reversed around. The roles are reversed around, so they really had that stuff worked out well.
sure.
Um, the band, the way they sing Layla chorus together, it sounds fantastic. I mean, it's really well rehearsed. They sound so tight. Eric sings like his life depends on this one. Solo kicks in, and Eric's guitar playing, he's soaring for like different heights. He's a true craftsman on the fretboard. His solo is 100% improvised, pretty much. 90% of what he's playing, he has his head back, his eyes closed. He's serving the song. That's a gift, Andrew. That's not, we shouldn't take that lightly, everyone in the chat and watching this later. That's a gift. That's not natural. You watch a lot of guitar players trying to emulate Clapton, and they can't take their eyes off the fretboard. This guy is not even looking at what he's playing. He's just, his head's back. He's somewhere else. Yeah. There's a part of the solo where I was a bit confused the first time I watched it. I thought someone made a mistake where they're holding like a chord. I think it's the D chord or something like that. But then I actually realized that it is a part of the song that was rehearsed. Then there's another screaming solo. There's lots of close-ups of the guitar on the split screen, and of course in this song, he's got his signature cigarette under the lower C string in the headstock with the smoke bellowing away. It's not that I condone smoking, but that's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen anyone do. Clapton just really had that down. It's just, yeah, it makes it even cooler in my opinion. Not that I smoke or I condone it, but very cool. The song breaks down and that ending comes in where Greg Phillinganes sort of leads with the keyboard playing the piano there. And we hear an epic ending of Layla played in all its glory here. We've got Phil Palmer and Eric Clapton playing the harmony line together, while the rest of the band they're just cruising through this outro. Sounds fantastic. Visually, it's fantastic. Watching Phil Palmer, Eric Clapton, and Nathan East side by side in a lot of the visuals, it's goosebump material. There's a lot of dynamics going on. There's a section visually where you see Nathan is looking across. He's actually looking at Eric's left hand, and he's got a big smile on his face. He's got that cheesy sort of Nathan East grin. That stuff is, that's where the chemistry is. There's a lot of admiration there. Eric launches into another outro solo with his eyes shut and his head back. In the background, you can see Ray Cooper belting the absolute bejesus out of this big gong. It's unreal. It's funny to watch, actually. Very funny to watch. Eric plays some very fluent guitar lines. We see tons of string bending, signature vibrato that we've mentioned so far in the past. He ends his song, and then there's that piano section of the song. and then there's that big snare hit with the reverb, and the Albert Hall comes to life with lights, and Eric comes in. They're all doing the accents, and he says, God bless and see you again and thank you, good night. And it's a masterpiece, Andrew, and it's a wonderful version of this song. The previous 24 Nights version that we got on the orchestra, which I think is coming up, I've always thought that as probably being one of my favorite versions as well. But this one, like you said, in a year's time, this stuff will probably be right up there with our favorite stuff. And I have to give this 100 out of 10, Andrew.
Thank you, bro. I just want to do a shout out to Bob Rubin. See you tomorrow, bro. Get some sleep, brother. Work hard. It's an epic version, isn't it? It's an epic version, folks. And Clapton sings this song fiercely. On previous songs, he's singing, he's crooning a bit. He's carrying the notes on some of the songs that we've been talking about, Brad. But on this one, he's actually he's on fire. He's not pulling any punches, bro, on this version of this song. And that's why I love it, because I think Jim made a comment before earlier too about, it's a sign of a great band, of a great musician, how you can take a song and change it. And Clapton has done that with this song so many times. There's so many great versions of this song, bro, out there. The one that he did with Derek Trucks in 2005, is a fantastic version. It's a remarkable song. And you and I and the Rock Professor and Jim and Derek and Alan, lots of us have spoken about this song many times on this channel. Many times. You did an Instagram post that we put up on the channel.
Yeah.
That's the first comment here, folks, of Brad playing the intro. It's a chord progression that every guitar player needs to learn. It's an interesting chord progression. It's not an easy chord progression. It's not easy, folks.
It's actually,
and even playing that intro, it's a bit of a stretch, but it's a good song to try and persevere with if you're a beginner or intermediate guitarist to try and get your head around. You're right, bro. The solo at 2:20, and then and then at 4 minutes 10 we get the piano coda, which we're all familiar with, and that goes on for another bloody 4 minutes, bro.
Well, I don't know. It goes for a long time.
It's just yeah. Like Wonderful Tonight, there were periods where I didn't pay much attention to this song, but certainly have made up for it. You and I and the Rock Professor did Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, and all of us spoke fondly about the song. We've had Michael on here, and we've spoken fondly about the song. You and I have done a couple of shows on Clapton Stratocasters, and we've spoken about this song and, its place in rock and roll history. Its deserved place. It's just, again, Clapton taking a Middle Eastern novel and writing it about George Harrison's wife. I just, it's even the story is just. I won't swear. The Rock Professor's not here to growl me, so I won't swear. It's just, it's what I love it. I love everything about this song. Love lots of versions of it, bro. It's a Brad score. It's a Brad score, bro. It's just a phenomenal piece of music. And well done to you doing the intro too, bro, on your Instagram. I urge you, folks. I'm gonna put that in the description to Brad's Instagram. If you're watching on a replay and you're too lazy to go back to watch the comments, it'll be here waiting for you on the description.
Yeah, it's again, when I was doing that, like I said before, Andrew, I was just mucking around. I said, and Elvis, my son, was in the room, and I set up the camera and I kept getting him to start the song and finish it for me. I made a few boo-boos. That there's one part of it that which you think would be the easiest part, but the one that not struggled with, but the one that I found most challenging was I won't voice or I won't play it, but the vibrato on the first finger, the way he does it.
Oh,
Okay.
oh,
I won't play the riff, but that when he does that in the riff, I don't want to get flagged, yeah.
no,
But you know the bit that I mean, where it goes,
yeah. That floating vibrato that he does. Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like the way he plays. It sounds like it's almost two notes. Yeah, if you're not watching, it's very anyway. You have to watch the footage to understand, but his vibrato is something that I've practiced a lot and still can't do properly, Andrew, and I don't think anyone can.
Well, his vibrato's changed over the years, and we've spoken about that early on. His vibrato used to be quite against.
Yes.
He had his hand behind the fret, but later on he floats it a little bit more. He's not. Yeah, that's it. Brad's. Yeah. So
the thing is actually hard to do that vibrato on the high E string.
And I think the reason why he changed his vibrato, it's because of the influence that he had with Dwayne Allman. When Dwayne Allman came in and, with his plain slide.
Yeah.
I think that's probably... Can I just change the subject quickly? Jazz Thunder Jim has made a comment here about Phil, and it's in his book. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably the worst decision Phil ever did was go and sign the contract for the Dire Straits tour.
Yeah, I agree. I think Phil and Eric played exceptionally well together. I think there was a mutual understanding of Phil's position in the band more so than getting in another player. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. That's a good discussion point. And Derek, yes, my son's initials EC. When my son was about 2, I bought this guitar for him, which is the Eric Clapton one. So he gets the EC Strat when he decides to play guitar.
What a guitar. Eh? No shitty classic vibe.
No.
No shitty Epiphone.
No, come on, mate. They're good guitars too. We're just diehard fans, and I had to have the pewter grey Strat because of 24 Nights, even though it's a later version of it. Still, I just wanted the same color. That's all that mattered to me. I just love it. I'm just spewing. It doesn't have as a flamed maple neck like
those master built ones that he got. Yeah, well, yeah.
So, Andrew, back on track. The next song is Crossroads, and wow, what can I say about this? I don't know where to start. I mean, we know Eric is a bluesman, and I think this footage, visually, watching this and hearing it, he comes out on his own. It starts playing very traditionally on a blues shuffle in E, and he does those trills with his first. The way he does the trills with his first finger when he's playing that E chord and everything like that. It's just I know everyone does it, but he just does it so fluently and effortlessly. He hits that pentatonic, the blues scale up around the 12th fret, and that's where Nathan East sort of comes in with him, and supported by Steve Ferrone holding the backbeat with a kick drum. Eric is completely improvising at this point. Obviously, it's rehearsed. He knows what he's going to be doing, but he's playing here once he starts getting into it. And again, eyes are not on the guitar, Andrew. He's playing. He's not focused on what he's playing. He's just playing. Visually, we have the split screen, which is fantastic. We're getting to see all the nuances with the left hand and the right hand. Again, the guitar with the cigarette in the headstock. Again, not condoning smoking, but it's a very cool look. Beautiful playing there from Eric. Nathan East is playing some wonderful bass lines under it to support him. He's a wonderful bass player, but he's an amazing blues bass player, Andrew. And I was surprised that he didn't get more work on the blues nights, to be honest with you. I don't know if he did many of the blues nights at all, but I think he's a wonderful blues bass player. And it's just amazing to watch. Again, Eric he just has a flow going. He's comfortable playing the blues, and it's really evident. His eyes are shut, his head's back. He barely looks at the guitar. There's sections of it that remind me very much, and I think the influence of playing with Stevie Ray Vaughan on tour and things like that. Andrew, I believe that was a little bit of that happening occasionally in this little intro. What he's doing here, there's a very much a Stevie Ray Vaughan influence there, without a doubt. Not that anyone can play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it's definitely rubbed off on Eric quite substantially. That section pretty much ends, and then we hear that Crossroads lick that we're all familiar with in a halftime feel, and it's amazing. The band sounds tight. They're powerful. There's two drummers playing together. Obviously, Ray Cooper's on drums with Steve Ferrone. And Eric comes in, he's growling like his vocal. It's like an old blue. I said this earlier in the piece, Andrew. His vocal, he has a natural growl going on when he sings the blues. And that's from years of putting it on. I think it's just started to develop its own thing, obviously with sobriety and things like that as well. Increasing his power of his vocal. It sounds fantastic. This is a funkier version of Crossroads compared to, like, if you were to compare it to a Cream version, which over the years, I'm going to make I'll admit that I never really liked this sort of feel on Crossroads. I never really enjoyed it. I preferred hearing Crossroads like Cream, Double Time, that feel. And I never really sort of liked hearing Clapton do it in halftime feel, but my goodness, this is one of the best versions of it that I've heard in that halftime feel. And that nothing, I've got here, he breaks into like a beautiful solo. The guitar tone is great. There's lots of space in his phrasing, in his soloing. It's like he does a phrase, leaves a few seconds there, does another phrase, pauses, does very traditional blues thing to do. It's not overplaying, it's actually playing the blues. It's like someone talking. Take a deep breath and you keep going. That's what he's doing on the guitar. We hear another vocal section, and then we hear Phil Palmer take a guitar solo, which is unique and a lot different to Eric's style. He's got a mixture of major and minor pentatonics going on. We see him using his right hand, picking with his fingers, like for the first half of the solo. And for the second part of the solo, he slides his pick out wherever he's holding it in there. He pulls it out and starts playing with a pick as well. He's a true craft on the guitar in his own right. There is a stop in the song, and there's a part in the song actually that Greg Phillinganes is hilarious. The section where it goes, "You can run, you can run." You seem to like the running man. It's quite funny. The whole band are very entertaining, and that's one of the reasons why I think Clapton liked them, because they would cover off all the entertainment side of it that Clapton wasn't so big on. I think he was more wanted to be the player, and the rest of the band had a bit of humor about them because they were so efficient and fluent on what they could do. They would just cover that off. The second Clapton solo, which is the third solo of the song, Clapton squeezing those strat tones out. Some close-ups that are outstanding. Clapton truly defines himself as a respected bluesman. I put here this era of Clapton really contributed to him getting a lot of respect as a bluesman and with his peers And I've given this version of it 10 out of 10, Andrew, never a skip. Andrew.
Great summary and great input, bro. I appreciate that. I got to agree with you. I think this is a song that Clapton was mindful of, that he didn't want to become like a holy song that was only relegated to the sacredness in Cream, because he was starting to pick up on that, you know. And how many times have we met Clapton fans, especially on social media, that say, Clapton became irrelevant after he left Cream? I still meet people like that. I still meet people that say that they only listened to Clapton up until Cream. It's like, okay.
That's madness. That's like the whole argument with people don't listen to Van Halen after David Lee Roth left. I think that's madness too.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why you and I get on so well, because we share that common sort of foundational thread of reality. Thank you for highlighting that. And I think Clapton's mindful of, you know, that this is like a really important song, because it's his first song that he obviously sung his first vocal on back on the Beno album. You know, they went and transformed it with Jack Bruce and Cream, you know, and it gets it to a point where Nathan East is the running man. You know, so it's not sacred. It's a great song. When I first heard this, bro, I was listening to it and I thought they've made a cock up here. Because I'm listening, and I go and have a look at the playlist and go, oh no, it is, okay. And then I listen, and then for 3.5 minutes it gets, as Brad has mentioned, folks, then it gets into that famous riff that we're familiar with. So I get it. I'm going, okay. So you get that over and done with, then you go back and listen to it again. Yeah. So as Brad said, you know, they're having this jam, they're having this bit of fun. Then you go and watch it on DVD. Then you get it again. So they're having a bit of fun. I'm glad that Brad has done the archaeology for you folks of him hanging out with Stevie Ray. I think that was a pivotal time, and I think that inspired Clapton with his blues playing to realise actually blues guitar can become part of who I am as an artist. I don't need to become just this pop singer or this pop musician. You know, I can do it with blues. And I think it goes back to his time with Stevie Ray. You and I have spoken about this a few times, and it's a theory that we're going to stick with, aren't we? And then he climbs into the song that we love. I'm not going to repeat everything that Brad said. You guys go and listen again to what Brad said. I just think it's phenomenal the way that they've done this intro, this jam, and then go into the song that we all love. Like you and like a lot of other people, I love a lot of versions of this song. You're right. This is Clapton's best channeling of Howling Wolf in his vocals. He's trying to, you know, he's trying to do something like that, isn't he? You know, he's doing it. He's pulling it off. Look, I've given this a Brad score, bro. Blew me away.
Yeah.
Hey, Bent.
And yeah, I have to say, how good is that little intro part that he does? I think that's worth, you know, it's just unreal. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time for me to probably absorb a lot of that, Andrew, because it's new to me. I haven't seen it before. So to actually, you know, maybe in a year's time, I'll be all over that. But yeah, fantastic. And then we come to...
Did you see Bent's comment, though? Did someone say Van Halen and he appears?
No, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
You
know,
look, yeah. Anyone in particular when I made that comment either, Andrew. I just, you know what I mean, Andrew. I think it's just...
I think it's nuts. I think it's nuts
to love a band so much, and then one of the members leaves.
Yeah,
you disregard the rest of the music because you think that's not who I am, because I love bands for the music and I love what they put into it, and it doesn't matter, mate. We've spoken about it before. There's eras of Clapton that aren't great either, but we still love Clapton. You know what I mean? You could diss Clapton and move on, or you could, you know, put it to the side and move forward with him. And then obviously, you know, by the time he did From the Cradle, that's the peak of his career for me around that time. You know, like this and From the Cradle is outstanding.
Look, we'll go on record and say this. You know, some Van Halen fans out there, folks, are weirdos. We'll admit that. Some Van Halen fans out there are weirdos. We've never subscribed to, you know, the Hagar versus Roth versus Sharon. We love it all. And I love ACDC, and Brad does too. And you never see the division or the hatred from ACDC fans when they talk about Bon Scott and Brian
Johnson, yeah.
yeah. You
And
never see that.
a lot of that comes down to the mutual respect they all had for each other. And the fans of ACDC are a lot different to the fans of Van Halen, even though they're all rock
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
You know, it's like putting on a, what do you call it? Colors. When you're an ACDC fan, you wear the colors, yeah. It's like wearing a football jersey or something, you know.
What an album, though, for
Yeah.
your first debut album after Bon Scott passes. Back in Black, bro. One day we got it. Can we rank that album? One day?
Yeah, we'll do it. It's a big album. And
Oh,
without sort of deviating too far away from Clapton, you know, going from 1984 to 5150, I mean, they're two different sounding albums, but my goodness, 5150 is a great album too. It's not like knocking one or the other. And you know, let's be honest. You know, like Ben Tom said, if there's no Clapton, there'd be no Van Halen. You know.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So we'll get back on to Eric Clapton, and we'll get back to we're deviating because the rock professor's not here, and he's going to wrap our knuckles, mate, for that.
Last track.
Last track, Sunshine of Your Love. Eric definitely has the DB booster on full at the start of this. Gives that real muddy, thick tone on the Strat. Eric comes in, he's groaning the blues in this. Phil and Gaines sings in it. Nathan East sings in it. Clapton sings. They all take turns. It's like a big vocal party. This version is a lot laid back compared to the one that I'm familiar with on the original 24 Nights. Visually, it's fantastic to watch. You know, again, the split screen sections are fantastic. The guitar solo is great. I put here, it's got like where Clapton launches into the solo, it's blistering. The guitar bends, and you know, I have to say, Clapton plays the blues only the way he plays them. And even though this is a Cream song, he's a blues player, and all of his playing in this is just outstanding. That blues is drenched in this. You know, there's the drumming from Steve in this song is outstanding. I have to say, there's that sort of section where it speeds up. You know, I can't look. There's so much going on in this song, and there's one section there where Eric Clapton plays unaccompanied. He's just playing some beautiful blues there. Eric's at this point of the night. It's obviously the last song. It must have been like the encore. They've come out for a bit of fun, and that fun's portrayed in this version of Sunshine of Your Love without a doubt. I don't think that this is as serious a version of Sunshine of Your Love as the one that's on the previous 24 Nights, Andrew. I think there's a little bit more fun going on in this version, being that it's the bigger band. They're actually just stretching it out. There's the drum solo from Steve. He's a seasoned professional, isn't he? Tons of dynamics in his drumming, lots of jazz as well. You know, I love watching a drummer that plays traditional style on drums as well. I love the traditional as opposed to the overhand drumming. His solo, he's a rock star in this, you know. I love watching it. The drummer comes out, he's doing a solo, the rest of the band walk off. You know, then Ray Cooper joins him with the solo with some percussion, and then it's very humorous to watch. Actually, he calls out, goes, you know, ready, one. He's like the way he does it. He's an entertainer. He's a true entertainer, Ray Cooper, through and through. And I have to give this version of it 9 out of 10 and never a skip, Andrew. It's a fun version of the song. And yeah, I love this. I love all versions of this song. It's a great song.
Good night, Bent. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for jumping in, and thank you for being a channel member too. We always appreciate it, you guys, and also Jimmy Ray. Thank you for being a channel member as well. Because you guys are channel members, you would have seen my quick unboxing of this 24 nights package that we did that I got a couple of days ago. Look, I'm going to reiterate one thing that Brad's been saying the last couple of shows for you guys in relation to this package. And often we like to just rank albums, obviously, on the track, on this show. We rank classic albums. But Brad's made a point that you guys need to see the video footage to appreciate the context of what you're listening to. It just gives you that extra dimension. And all of us are aware of that now because we're all on social media and we all are inspired by video images and the image has an impact on us, even old farts. If you want to put the song into context, go and watch the video because I think the song can sort of kind of put you out of context, Brad, because of that drum solo. And I know that the rock professor, God bless him, he don't like drum solos in songs. He says, we should banish all drum solos except for John Bonham. I'm not agreeing with that because I think there are some great drum solos, but there's only some. There's not a lot of really good drum solos anyway. You get my point. Yeah. But the toms, as Brad said, they get a really good treatment on this song, and they have to, because obviously Ginger Baker's playing on the original, and what Ginger Baker's doing with Sunshine of Your Love on the toms is an incredible part of the song. It's one of the reasons why the song is so successful, and you get that vibe with this, don't you? And you get the cymbals, the right cymbals coming through, and as Brad again painted for you folks, that tone boost, and he's going to illustrate that for you guys next week or the week after, depending on how things go. The tone is just the woman tone. This is the woman tone a la E.C. Clapton Stratocaster, isn't it? He's got the tone all the way down and the boost all the way up, and lets it rip. And it gives you chicken skin when you hear that intro, because it's probably one of the first guitar intros you and I ever learnt to play as a guitar player. Dan, 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 dan. If it wasn't that, it would have been Smoke on the Water. Admit it. Look, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I only like the song, though, because I've seen the video. Does that make sense? Because I reckon I would have given this 8. I reckon I would have given this 8 out of 10, Brad. But I'm giving it 8.5. Never a skip. It's never a skip. But I think it's, in the context of this package, boy, it deserves to be there.
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned the live stuff, Andrew, because you got to put it into context too. A lot of this stuff is done for seeing it live. I mean, you definitely can't just buy the audio of this, Andrew. You can't just buy the audio of this to appreciate it. That's what I've been saying the whole way along. You need to see the whole package. You need to see the visual to really get a grasp on some of these songs, this being one of them. So I'm glad you brought that up. There's one thing I wanted to mention, Andrew, which is what I asked earlier. I said, don't forget to remind me about something which I'm going to go into now. The Journeyman songs, the transformation to them becoming a live song, a live performance, which marries in that whole discussion we just had with watching that previous song, Andrew. Now, the Journeyman album, these songs come to life when it's in a live performance, more so than the album.
Yep.
I don't know if you picked that up. Hearing these songs from the Journeyman album on like Old Love, Bad Love, No Alibis, like those songs, they come to life in 24 Nights for me. That, like, when I listen to Journeyman, I love it, but I'm not hearing it the same way that I'm hearing it when I listen to it in a live format. So, but I'm really glad that in this package we do get visual with every song, because, like you mentioned, Andrew, I don't know whether you would actually get a grasp on, like, Sunshine You Love, the way they did it live without watching it. That's just my take on it. But do you agree with the comment, like the Journeyman songs?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, and I have to sort of jump in quickly and interrupt you because Jazz Thunder's going to leave. He said it last week too. He made a comment that Journeyman was the perfect album for Clapton to go and play live. He made that comment last week too. So I think you guys are right, spot on. I never thought about it that way until obviously we have the conversation about it. It's a great album. It was an album that stamped his mark as a guitar player once again for a lot of people. Hearing that great combination of that Strat and that Soldano. But in conjunction with this, a couple of years later, or 18 months later, as you've rightly pointed out, built his career, bro. I think Journeyman and 24 Nights gave him that foundation to propel him to be the artist that he went on to be. I don't think he could have done it with August. He wouldn't have done it on August.
No, I agree. Well, that's pretty much it, Andrew. I think we covered everything pretty well there. It was a long show without the Rock Professor here, so I think we did pretty well.
It's always a pleasure, bro. If the Rock Professor is doing his homework properly and watching this to the end, we're gonna say that the show will never be the same without him.
No,
never be the same without him. So we're gonna test him, aren't we? We're gonna say, what did we say about you at the end of the show? He'll quickly go to fast forward it and say, oh, you guys said the show would never be the same without me. But it's true. Leen Van Halen is in here. Good to see you, Leen. But I agree with you, bro. We thought when we got the news about the Rock Professor being crook and not being able to participate, Brad and I had a conversation about whether or not we were going to postpone it. But because we'd advertised the show all over on our social medias, we decided, and the Rock Professor gave us the blessing to say, to go ahead and do it. So I hope we did the second part of the show well, Rock Professor. I hope we get a pass mark.
Yeah. I hope we did something.
Did you see the views? Did you see the views we got on last week's show too?
It was fantastic. Yeah. 1,100 so far?
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Well done. Well done. Well done, everybody.
Everyone. Thanks for joining us and everyone's chat. We had a great show tonight, minus the Rock Professor's. We always like to hear what the Rock Professor has to say about the songs and
Rock
the rankings. Huh? Because
Rock
I will say this, Andrew. Like, after hearing your analysis and hearing Simon's, I go back and listen to the songs, not immediately, but when I go back, I remember what you said about them and I hear it a bit differently. So it's always wonderful to do that.
So we're scheduled, folks, to do the orchestra nights next week. If the Rock Professor is going to be on board. If he's not, Brad and I will come back and we'll do something else. We might even just hang out and we might do... We'll plan something anyway. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and also subscribe to Brad's channel and also his Instagram, and then you'll find out what we're going to do, because we don't at this stage know what we're going to do next week.
We'll wing it a little bit and we'll let you guys know through the week. By midweek, we'll have an idea, I think.
We're not going to do a shout out to everybody. Brad did one at the start. We're going to say one thing, though. We always appreciate you participating with us. Everybody, you know who you guys are. Every single one of you who joins us live, you mean a lot to us. And we mean that sincerely. We're just a small channel. We have a lot of fun here on the channel. you guys are part of what we do here, and you guys are part of the success that we have on this channel, and we mean that. If we could all buy you a coffee or a beer or something, we would. But hopefully the fact that we are always humbled by your presence and your support, hopefully that's enough for you guys. We never take it for granted.
Never. You've said that wonderfully well. I think it's a good, I've got nothing else to add other than thank you for joining us, and a cyber hug to everyone. Thank you.
I don't know about you, bro, but I've been telling Simon to lay off the drugs, bro. I've been telling him for weeks and weeks, bro. I don't know why he won't listen to me. And to put that Visa card away.
Andrew, you still alive?
Oh,